Beautiful, thank you. So now we'll be beginning section 2 of the class of 2021 representatives for CCSC. We'll be going down the line as well. Just first of all, a minute to quickly introduce yourself and your party and your platform. Please just keep in mind to speak as loud as possible so the mic can pick up what you're saying, as well as keep your thoughts concise, just to within a minute. Right.
Hi, how are you? My name is Maria Villa Franklin. I am running for CCSC representative, and I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about our party platform, Line More. I'm running with a party that really stands for community and family on campus. And my experience with various human rights organizations as well as youth boards, and my experience with being on my prior school's student council as vice president would really allow me to represent the student body as a whole. I'm really looking to increase collaboration among all students and create that familiar network and really create a support system for students through various school spirit activities as well as addressing stress culture through town hall meetings.
Hi, I'm Miriam, and I'm also running for representative, and I'm part of the Ubuntu party. And we basically stand for what Ubuntu means, I am because we all are. So the most important thing for us is making sure that we reach out to the student body and address their concerns. One major part of our platform is tackling financial insecurity, because that's a big issue that a lot of students face, and it's not really addressed. So one of the things that we are focused on is like creating a database where we can share free PDFs that would help students so that they don't have to purchase textbooks, which can become really expensive. Another thing is maybe creating a program where we can subsidize laptops for students that can afford them. And another part of that, of tackling financial insecurity would be to push for a DACA renewal of scholarships, because as we all know, undocumented students in this country are really facing a lot of backlash right now for no reason. They're trying to pursue their education, and we need to make sure that happens. Another part of our platform is increasing inclusivity. So one way that we could do that is by making sure we diversify the core and the text that we're reading so that it could represent more marginalized identities in our class. So people that aren't often spoken of. And another thing that we're focused on is maybe creating workshops like we had during NSOP, like under one roof. So making that more like a semester thing so that students can remember, it's important to kind of remind yourself of respecting others regardless of your beliefs. And another major part of our platform is also focusing on mental health. I don't think it's widely addressed, and we would also want to create workshops to kind of teach students techniques to combat stress, and also refer them to services, making sure that there are more people of more professionals that are people of color also helping out with mental health. And also as a council, we can also create fun activities like riverside runs or meditation to help students as we come closer to exams.
Hi, I'm Karina. I'm running for CCSC representative with the wonderful, beautiful party seat at the table. And I personally am the creative mind behind that video on the Class of 2021 page, which I really appreciate. But anyway, so I think the biggest thing about our party and the reason that you should vote a seat at the table is because we're looking for practical solutions to big problems. I think there are a lot of issues that get thrown around, like mental health and the issue of marginalized voices. And I think that a lot of the solutions that are brought up, and I'm not specifically aiming this at any of the parties I'm running against, but in the way that they're addressed in the status quo, I think that some of the solutions aren't things that actually address the issues at hand. And I'll get into this a little bit in the next question with mental health culture. But I think that we're looking for practical policy-based solutions that will make a lasting impact on the Columbia community long beyond our 4 years here and beyond, hopefully, our 1 year in office that's guaranteed by this election. And I think another thing that we're looking at is, and the reason that our party is particularly special is because our party is diverse, our party comes from a myriad of backgrounds, and I think that moving forward, these different voices coming together for a single goal within our party also extends beyond our party. And the fact that we're accessible, the fact that anyone can come up to us and express their concerns. We're all empathetic people that are looking for, to bring everyone's voice to the table. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Tak. I'm from London. I'm a first generation immigrant. I'm from Palestine, and I'm an immigrant to the UK, and then I'm here now in the USA on a sponsorship. So using that background, I like to think that my party is very diverse. We aim to represent people who come from financial insecurity, who come from diverse backgrounds, who don't really know how to adjust to the US. Personally, I'm having a hard time adjusting here, so just planning on opening up resources. We plan on being there for people who just want to make a practical difference to the life of Columbia. For example, we have some policies that can do with registration, as my fellow representative Joyce has mentioned. We want to make it fair. There's no reason why you should get 3:30 p.m. every single semester for your entire career at Columbia. It just makes no sense. Also clubs, you pay a lot of money to come here, you might as well be able to join what you want and try out things. But apart from that, we want to tackle the mental health, stress, culture. We want to do mental health days, maybe bringing puppies to class. We want to, open up the resources that we have to people. Right now we have a representative for each major religion in this university. Right now, no one, I don't know, many people haven't heard of them. We have a Muslim representative, a position that's not even been filled for the last month. So we want to just, make use of these resources that we have, enlighten people to the fact that there's something that they can use if they're feeling uncomfortable, if they don't like that situation. If your room is too hot in John Jay or whatever, we want to get you a discounted AC at stores nearby. If you're struggling with your floor, we want to make it easier to maybe switch rooms after you've chosen. Stuff like that that makes life at Columbia really a lot better for the normal person and even the people who are, immigrants basically, like me. Thank you.
Yeah, Chris.
Hi guys, I am Ramsey Air, and I'm running on the wonderful 21 Savages ticket. You guys have probably seen the memes on the Columbia Class of 2021 Facebook page. Basically, and we've said it before and we'll say it again, our platform can sort of be boiled down into 3 words that we like to call diversity, accessibility, and finesse. So what does this mean? Diversity, as people have said before, obviously is something that we all really want to celebrate here at Columbia. But obviously there's ways in which we can make our campus more diverse and more accepting of that diversity inherent within our campus. We can work towards reforming the core curriculum so that, again, as people have said, it will make students be able to see themselves in their education rather than just the old classical canon. People often ask me, why do we need to read both the Iliad and the Odyssey, and why can't we save more space at the end of the class for works by more female or non-Western authors in modern times? And that's a great question. That's something we'd like to pursue. We'd also like to tackle issues of accessibility, both on campus and off campus. We'd like to provide students and work with local businesses, give them student deals on anything from sandwiches to shirts. And we'd also like to even pursue an initiative to reform the iClicker system for FROSI so that we can move it towards an app-based system rather than a very expensive piece of technology, which no one really ever uses afterwards. And in terms of finesse, which, as we've already said, finesse, we really want students to be able to finesse their way through 4 years of college. We want these to be the best years of our lives. And what does that mean? It means really ensuring that our mental health facilities and programs are cared for and taken into account. We really want to promote the work of the counseling and psychological services on campus. And we really want to host fun events in order to make sure that students, both inside of clubs and with student council, have events to go to where they can meet people and enjoy their college experience. And we, in tandem with our mental health things, we'd like to organize suicide prevention classes for NSOP, which was sorely lacking during that program. And so there's a lot of things we want to do to help students be diverse, accessible, and help them finesse their way through college.
Great, thank you so much. So in the previous section, I asked a question regarding policies and events, but this time I'm going to ask a question regarding class spirit. You guys are part of the class. Raising spirit is a key aspect of being on class council. So I was wondering if you guys could share specific ideas you have mentioned it already in your platform, or you have right now that you'd like to share with us.
Sure. So Line Roar takes an approach to school spirit and building community. We're in a very competitive environment, and it's important to bring people together and bring collaboration and also community among us all. One of our specific projects is Line Week. In my high school, as probably in yours, there was a Spirit Week where it was a week of activities where you got to dress up, you got to go to school events, projects, go to different games during that week, and that really built communication and spirit among the students. So I think that would be really important to see that here, especially because there's a lot of stress with schoolwork, so being able to combat that with many activities would be great. Also, we also have developed Winterfest, which would turn our annual snowball fight tradition into a week-long event where we'd be able to get together that whole week and celebrate winter, especially since a lot of times winter becomes a time that's very stressful, and that could bring a lot of mental health problems for people. So we would love to address that.
Hi, Fran. So some things that I previously mentioned, but that I'll repeat again, that we are focused on doing to bring the Columbia community together are just little activities, because we know that they're like people do have things to do, but there are things that we can come together to celebrate, like even if it's just watching a movie on low, or going to, like, one thing that we're focused on is also increasing for example, we know that we have access to some free museums, increasing that, and to other events. So if it's getting a group together to go to a museum one day, or we also had another initiative which was going to a petting zoo, and different things that people, I know there are some things available, but people don't often take advantage of them. So if we can also spread that among the freshman community, that would help to get, to make us bond and become closer together.
So a seat at the table's approach to building community and building Columbia pride is sort of two-pronged. I think the first step to being proud of the community you're in and to embracing the community and engaging in the community is being comfortable in yourself. And so I think the first thing that we would like to address is the fact that within this status quo, the way they address stress culture and the way they address mental health is often equivocated. We believe that stress culture and mental health are different things. We think for students with long-term chronic mental health issues, which there are surprisingly a lot more on campus than it may seem, Stress Busters isn't going to solve that. Addressing mental health through bringing puppies on campus and through giving free massages in Learner isn't going to help a kid that's depressed, isn't going to help a kid that is having a hard time engaging with the Columbia community. And so that's one of the first issues that we'd like to address, which I think is a prerequisite to addressing Columbia spirit at all, because it's hard to be proud of the place you're in if you can't engage with it because of your own personal issues. And on that note, also increasing accessibility for marginalized students to be able to participate in these things safely and to be able to participate in these things feeling like they have a voice and feeling like they're truly a part of the community is the first step to really being proud of where we are. But on the second note, we believe that school spirit is something that's sometimes very difficult to come up with a policy or an event that's going to make sure that happens. As we can sort of tell by this auditorium, I think a lot of events that are planned by student council and implemented by student council aren't well attended because students are just busy. This is a hard college. This is, a place where students are trying their best to work and to be involved in clubs and to take care of their academics. And so having students all come together is always going to be something very difficult. So in that respect, we believe that the events that we host should be something where everyone can have a voice and something where everyone can express their own perspective if they're having a hard time or if they're having a good time and they just want to sort of build community where we can escape from this institution, this sort of institutional stress. So in that note, we want to do class talent shows, and we want to do sort of the creative workshops that Kat was talking about in the previous session, where students can come and can express themselves and can really take a momentary escape from the stress culture at Columbia, which, as I stated before, is completely different from mental health culture at Columbia.
Well, for us here at Beginner's Mind, engaging with school spirit is very much a two-step process. Number one would be making people happy, and number two would be establishing a sense of community. So for number one, we were thinking maybe having a mental health week where instead of just bringing puppies to relieve stress, we could actually enlighten people to the resources we have at Columbia, maybe bring in speakers to enlighten how they've gotten over problems that they've encountered at their time at college. We've thought about increasing the amount of counselors at CPS, because right now you could be suicidal and call them up, and you'd have to wait 2 weeks for a session with a counselor, which is absolutely ridiculous. So we thought maybe get therapists on the phone 24/7, just increasing the number of counselors and increasing the number of sessions available for you to go to, because obviously, relieving stress isn't the same as chronic depression, but we want to tackle both. A lot of people here have stress problems, so I think bringing puppies could help resolve that. But then again, increasing the number of counselors is going to help people who really have serious issues with depression, anxiety, stress, anything that Columbia fosters in this very, again, stressful community. Number 2, in terms of engaging in community, we've thought of residence hall outings to art galleries, again, engaging in events in Columbia, whether it's pep rallies or bringing in speakers, or having free pizza on those steps or movies, whatever it is, just letting you know that there are other people here. We're all in the same situation, we all have a lot of work, but we're all different people, but we can still get together and work to build a community around being strong, not giving up, and being dedicated to Columbia.
So one of the things we really want to do when it comes to establishing school spirit are not just hosting cool events. Obviously, we want to do that through student council. We know the silent disco was very popular last year. We want to continue to host events like that, perhaps enhance the snowball fight that really happened last year, and we want to promote those sorts of events. But what we also want to do is we want to provide clubs and student groups with more of the resources that they need in order to create their communities and therefore make the Columbia community even more enhanced. So what does that mean? Well, we want to provide them with a better funding process so that they're able to host cool events. Asia from our party was talking about All Black Everything and Illuminati before, and we really want to encourage those types of events too, but also speaker series for different clubs, different things that different students are interested in. That helps to bring Columbia together. When we have the diversity of interest that clubs represent, and we celebrate that, and we really lift up those clubs in order to be able to have more resources to do things like that. That benefits the community as a whole, and we believe that ensuring clubs have those resources is at the top of our list of priorities, so we want to do that for school spirit.
Great, awesome, thank you. That's all the time we have for section 2 of the representatives. Thank you so much for coming up.